live. So in this video, I'm going to give a quick introduction to pygame and just kind of like how to draw shapes, how to set up a basic window, and we'll start from there. And then in later videos, I'll go into animations and when we use kind of keyboard controls for pygame. I kind of like this package a lot because I find graphics to be very kind of rewarding, any kind of animation to be a little bit more rewarding as a programming exercise because you kind of get real-time feedback in the process. So I have two windows. I have a terminal window where we're going to be running scripts from, and then I have my main window. Here I'm using Atom as the editor, and I have the file I'm just calling video1.py. So py is the Python extension, and this has been saved in the same directory as my main directory. So on a Mac, I can type ls and I can look at the directory. Here's all my different files, and then if I come over here, I see video1 there. You can also type dir if you're on kind of a Windows machine. But anyway, let's get started. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna type import pygame. That's gonna import kind of the module we're gonna use, and then we're gonna type pygame init, and that's just gonna initialize kind of the animation engine. So the first thing what we're gonna do is we're gonna draw a surface. So we're gonna do surface, we're gonna do pygame.display, and then we're gonna do set mode. And this is going to be here a function, so there's the method in the class, and we're going to define the dimension. So here's the x dimension, so it's going to be 500 pixels, and then the y dimension is going to be 500 pixels. And that's going to be kind of our standard kind of way we're going to do it. And maybe we'll do a title for it. So we'll do pygame dot display, and then we'll do set caption, and maybe we'll call this video1. Right. And so then the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to type surface, and then what we're going to do is we're going to fill that surface with a color, and our color is going to be defined by 3 numbers. So this is going to be RGB, and these are going to run from 0 to 255. And if I do the color 000, that's going to be black as my surface, and white would be 255, 255, 255, and I'll do some other colors, but you can always just Google the RGB values for different colors. And then we're going to do type, let me just slide down here, I always forget. We're going to do pygame dot display and flip, and this is just going to tell us this is going to basically draw things. And when we start doing a video, what we're going to do is we're going to basically loop the drawing package, almost like when you did maybe as a kid when you made flip card animations. It's going to be the same idea, but here we're just going to draw some pictures. So now I have my file. I have to save it. Atom tells you when the file's not saved because you see that little blue dot, but I hit save, and now it's saved. And if I type Python and I type video1, set model, oh, it's set mode, I'm sorry, had a typo. Come up here, and we see it kind of flip up and then flip down and then kind of display. So it kind of opened up for a second and then went away. So the way we can crack this is we're just going to do while true. Let me type true, and this is going to maintain kind of our surface. So typically these animations are always going to be done in loops. And so if I save this and then I hit my pygame, and now I have my black screen. If I activate this screen, you see it says name pygame window at the top, and then it's going to be 500 by 500. Problem is right now, the only way to get out of this when I want to exit out is I have to hit basically Control C, and that's just going to kind of interrupt me out of Python. So what we're going to do is add an extra command here. And so we're going to do for event in pygame events, and basically what this is going to do is it's going to look for any kind of input or action that we're doing. So it might be pressing a key, moving a mouse, or in our case it's going to be clicking the close button on our window. And so if we say event dot type is equal to pygame quit, and then what we're going to say is done is equal to true. And I'm going to just put here done is equal to false up here, false, and then I'm going to do done all down here. And then often what people do outside the loop is just type pygame quit, and that's just going to quit us out of the pygame module. So now when I run it, I come up. Whoop, I had a typo there. Keyboard interrupt. What did I do wrong here? Done is equal to true. Pygame is quit. Oh, there. Event.type. Let's try that now. And I have another typo. Let's see, what am I doing wrong here? Keyboard interrupt. Let's take, because it has, so I'm going to do while not done. I'll clear that up. So I had done as false, so it's never actually running this. So it's kind of starting up without doing it. So starts up. I don't know why there's that initial kind of fuzziness at the back of the screen. It doesn't happen actually on my Windows computer, but I'm just using my Mac because that has a new video. So now I have my screen. I can move it around. I can't resize it, though there is resizing options within Pygame. And now, I can minimize it so I can go away. Let me come back over here, pull it up. And now when I hit this red button, close that, and it'll go away. And so now I have kind of my shape. So here we're filling the surface, and here we're redrawing the surface. So let's draw some shapes on it. And the way it's going to work, if this was kind of the window, here's kind of my 0, 0 position. As I move X, I move across. As I increase Y, I'm going to go down. So let's draw a circle. So I could do pygame.draw, and I'm going to do a circle here. And I'm going to type surface. And now I'm going to give it its color. And since it's RGB, so let's do a red one. So 0, 0, 0. And then I'm going to give it its position. So maybe I'll put it at 100, 100. And then the last thing I'm going to do is give it its radius. So we're going to have a circle at 100, 100 with a radius 50. And then it's going to be red. So I come over here, I save it, I run it. And let me just come back over here. Let me bring this guy over here. And now I have my circle here, right? So it's, let me shorten this up here. So I don't really need that much there. And so I have my circle. It centers at 50, at 100, 100, and then it has a radius of 50. If I get out of this, maybe I want to try the X position at 200. And then I'm going to come back. And now it's been shifted over a little bit. I can change its color. So maybe I'll do another one. And maybe I'll drop down another sphere, circle. And maybe I'll do this at 200, 200. And let's make this one blue. And so that would be 255 so for RGB. And now when I get out of it, let me make sure I save that. And then I come back here, I run it. And now I have kind of my two spheres in here. I could change, different volume. So I can change the radiuses. One thing is these are kind of printed one at a time. So if I make this one, the blue guy, bigger, so maybe I do a radius of 75, save this, it's going to overlap the red sphere, right? So I'm going to have that on top of that red sphere. So just a couple other things we can do. If we just don't want a filled sphere, we could actually do something like, and come down here and put an extra argument. So this is 5, and this is going to be the width of kind of the ring around the sphere. So this will actually draw a ring. So let me just show you this. And I come back here and I draw it, and now I have a ring, right? And the ring has a width of 5 kind of pixels here. If we don't have this option, then it kind of fills the surface. So on Compass, I have a bunch of other examples. So let's just do a couple more. So here we're going to do pygame.draw, and we're going to draw a rectangle. Let's do a surface here. And then let's see the color. Let's do yellow this time. So that's going to be 255, 255, 0. And now with a rectangle, we're going to have 4 numbers. So the first number is going to be the upper left-hand corner of the rectangle. So I'm going to actually put it at 0, 300. So that'll be somewhere down here. And then it's going to be the width of it. So let's make it 200 long and 100 tall. So I save this, and then I come back over here. I delete out, and let me just rerun it. And now I have my big rectangle here. Again, it's given in 4 numbers. This is actually an object. The way the rectangle draws, there's a rectangle object in Pygame. If you want to learn more, you can go look at the documentation or all the different tutorials. But here we kind of have our object. And as before, if I put 5 here, it's going to do kind of a ring around this. So I can come back here, and then let me come back here, and then it's going to be kind of the ringed version of it. And then, you know, if I tried like 25, I made it thicker. Let me get out of here and come back here. It's going to be just a little bit thicker sphere. It kind of gets a little bit messy here, right? Because you see kind of it's trying to smooth it around. So in general, it's probably best to keep it a little bit small. We could fix that, but we're just going to try to keep it simple here since it's not an animation course. And so now we have our rings. Let me just do two other quick ones. So another one is we can draw, we can do pygame, we can do draw, we can do lines, and here we're going to have a surface. Let's make this a green line. So we're going to have 255, 0. And then I'm going to just put points here. And last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make it width of 5. So the reason why I'm doing points is I'm just taking a variable here because we're going to have to actually do a list of points. So, whoop, I deleted that out. So points. So I have a list, and now it's going to be elements in that list are going to be the points. So maybe this was down to 400. So let's do 0 to 450 would be our first point that we're going to lie. And then we can do, I don't know, maybe 50 to, let's do 50 to 450. And then maybe our third one will be, let's just do 500 to 500. And now if I run it, so this is going to start at the first point, the second point, the third point. We could add more points if we wanted to. Actually, so now I have kind of, whoop, must be a sequence of number pairs. Where's my, I have a sequence of number pairs. Let's see if I do this. Let me make sure I get this all right. That should make a difference. I have a sequence of pairs, points. Let me get rid of this one for a second. I might have gotten this wrong. Nope. And let's see what I'm doing wrong here. Let me cheat. And where do I have lines? I have a sequence. Oh, I forgot. There's one extra thing we have to do here. I'm going to put a false here for the lines. And let me run it now. All right, so now we have kind of our first point, our second point, our third point. What false does is tells us not to connect these last points together. Let me thicken this up. Let me make this 5. And if I run this here, I come back here. And now I have kind of this point to the third point. If I made this over here, whoop, kind of come back over here. I made this true. Let me shorten this one up. That's a little bit too much over there. So let's do 100. Let's just take a look at that. Let's see if this looks a little bit better. So now I have kind of this point, this point, this point. You know, I could add a lot of points there. But if I do true here, and I sorry for forgetting about this. I do true, and then let me exit out of here. Whoop, come back, and I run it. And now it'll actually connect the first and the last point. So false tells us we don't want it to be connecting the first and last point. And true says we do want to connect it to the first and last point. So another one we could do is if we want to do a fill. So I can just take that out. I can get rid of that true point. And if I did polygon, and I come over here, and I type polygon, and I delete this out of here, what this is going to do is actually create a filled shape based on those 3 points. And now I have kind of a filled shape. And maybe I want to make this one green. Oh, it is green. And so that's going to be another shape. And you can use a lot of points. You know, we could actually draw a circle, you know, using the polygon command if we put, you know, like 100 or 200 points around that circle. So this is just kind of a quick overview of using kind of pygame. You know, so again, we import it, we initialize it, we define our surface, which is the size. You know, I could make a bigger one. So if I did a 1,000 by 1,000, let's see if this will fit on my laptop screen. Let me come back here. And now I have this big kind of window. And come over here. Let me shrink it down to 500 by 500. Let's do 500 by 500. If you print outside the surface, it just doesn't show up, right? Or it'll show up on what's on the surface. For example, if I did, what did I have over here? 200. So if I did this like 20, right here, now I exit out, and this is going to be the red sphere. And what you're going to see is it's kind of like cut off because it's pointing at the center in 20 and it shows the visible part. So the next thing is, we can set a caption here, and then basically we have an event loop. And the key thing is we're just detecting whether we're closing the window, we're clearing out the surface or wiping it clean, drawing a bunch of things on it, and then this tells pygame to kind of update the screen based on all these different objects we did, and then it'll continuously loop. And what's going to happen in animations, which I'll show you in the next video, is as we change these positions, like if we change these positions each time, these objects are going to move. So I could do something like I is equal to 0, and then I could do something like I is equal to I plus 1, and then maybe I could do 20 plus I. Let me actually slow this down. I'm not going to do plus 1. I'm going to do plus like 0.1, right? And what's going to happen is each time I loop through this position of this red sphere is going to change, and you're going to see it actually move across the screen. And so I save that, and I come back here, and I run it, and now we see that red sphere move across the screen because each time I'm updating this I position. Now we can change like the speed. If I did bigger than 0.1, it would move faster. We can also play with the frame rate, how fast it's kind of drawing per second. But this is kind of an overview of kind of animation movement. And again, it's like a flip book, right, that we used, you probably did as a kid, where you kind of draw, index cards, and each picture is slightly shifted from the other, and then when you kind of string them together, you get the animation. And now a red sphere has moved off the screen. And so it's kind of continually moving, but it's no longer being visible in kind of the animation. All right, I'm going to stop here. If you have questions, put them in the comment section, post them to Piazza. And in the next 2 videos, which I'll post soon, I'll go into more animation, just 2 simple examples, and then I'll show you how to move things with like your keyboard and put keyboard commands into kind of pygame to kind of give it much more of an interactive feel. All right, thank you.